Welcome back, Bubbas. A little bit different episode today. I want to kind of talk to you guys about how I became an HLP hitter, the events that led up to it, and just everything in between from it. So let's just dive right on into it. So it started here in college. I had a very big hand pivot, something I picked up in high school, which really worked for me, allowed me to really turn the barrel behind me. But I just had a hard time consistently timing out balls with obviously my forward move. So in this video, you can clearly see once it goes through right here, right? I'd be in my load, little hand pivot, rock back. But as I turn my barrel, right, what I see now is I would turn the barrel in front of me because I had such a forward move with my rear leg, right? As I make a forward move, I wish I learned to stay back on my rear side. This actually was a COVID year, so I don't know how I would have done in my first regular season in Division I baseball. But I can tell you, 20-some games, batted 300, and did enough to be a starting freshman that year. And so it was good. I was like, man, this is kind of, I like my hand pivot, I like my swing. But as time went on, the move became very, very, very hard to control. So let's fast forward 2 years to summer ball. Ignore how grainy this video is. But I mean, god damn, I wish someone would have told me this was not it. Look at my setup. I'm starting 50-50, right? I'm starting here. So then I have to rock back. I see no coil in my rear leg as this hand pivot is literally facing damn near like the first baseman. Look at that hand pivot. That is a horrible position to launch from, and it just got nastier and nastier because I never knew how to turn the barrel. I just thought big hand pivot because I wanted to copy Barry Bonds. That was who I grew up watching, who I grew up idolizing. And I was like, man, Barry kind of turned his barrel like that. Like, I'll try it. So I naturally developed this high elbow and just a deep hand pivot where all of a sudden now I would deliver the barrel from deep behind me. Yet, once again, it would be fine if I was on this rear leg. But I have all this weight now going forward. And so something I've kind of learned over the years is a hand pivot with no rear leg, as you can see, and no tilt. It's a push. And so even though I thought I was turning the barrel and creating this depth and bat speed behind me, I was pushing my hands at this ball. And because of this, right, my legs are now no longer actually loaded. I'm using all hands and hoping I'm on time for something. And it was just very, 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 very inconsistent, very ugly. And this same problem, which happened, I would say this is my junior summer, so going into my draft year, this same problem continued my entire fall ball. I was absolute dog shit. You can ask any one of my teammates. I was absolutely horrible. Couldn't hit. I mean, I was always been like pretty much a shitty defender, to be honest with you. And it just snowballed into this wild goose chase of trying to figure out how the hell to hit again all fall and even led into my spring. So as I mentioned, right, that giant hand pivot and that giant crash led me all throughout the fall ball, even into spring ball, to a horrible start in my draft year. And the pressure was on. I was mentally defeated. Physically, I couldn't figure out. And so I was damn near willing to try anything. And so I would say right here at Abilene Christian, this was the weekend that it kind of all changed for me. Keep in mind, I was batting 254 damn near through the first 20-ish games or so. So that week at Abilene Christian was a huge turning point. That entire week, I was like, what does the best hitter in the world do right now? And that was Judge. Obviously, being a Fresno State guy, I was like, I want to do what he does. And I had no idea what HLP was. I didn't know who Rich was. I didn't know about anything about HLP was. And I was living underneath a rock, I guess, because I had no idea about what it was. And so initially, what I thought HLP was I literally thought if I got one ass cheek above the other and I held it longer, I was able to kind of control my rear side better. And that allowed me to stay back with my hand pivot and then turn the barrel from behind me and behind that rear leg as I went forward. And so I was kind of very pumpy, and I pumped, and I literally got my hands down to my hand slot down here because I couldn't change that in time. But then I literally would go one ass above the other and just kind of like be stuck there. And I was like, well, I'll try anything. And so it was like a makeshift HLP at the time, and it worked. I mean, I ended up batting like 300 end of the year. Still at an OPS about 900 or so my junior season. And from that day on, I was like, I don't know what the hell this is, but I'm going to do it because this was absolutely saved my career. It saved my season. It helped me get drafted, and forever thankful for HLP was there for me to do so. Granted, I didn't do it right whatsoever, but I'm very glad it was there to do so. So this is that week at Abilene Christian. This is my literal first at bat of the change of my swing. And I was like, oh man, this is it. And I just was very low key about it, very subtle about it. But if we break this down as much as I possibly can, I wish I could slow this down on Twitter. See if I can. I can't. Sweet. Right. I got to my pause. I didn't know what a pause was at the time. I had no idea what that was. But you can see how all of a sudden my hand pivot right there, I find a stillness before I launch and let it turn from behind my rear leg and let the ball travel. Okay, but before I was doing before, obviously, was this giant forward move was taking me out in front to this rear leg to the pitch. I go crash, the hand pivot would come with it, and it was all arms, and there was no rear leg. Because obviously, my arms don't swing the bat. My rear leg does. The rear leg launches down the right field line for righties, left field line is me as a lefty, and takes the hand pivot in the barrel through the baseball. I had it completely backwards going into my summer year, my sophomore year, my freshman year, because that's what everyone's taught. Use your hands to hit the baseball. Go get the baseball with your hands, right? Kind of get into my rear leg, back out of my rear leg, hands to the ball, hands to the ball. Well, that shit did not work for me because I was very handsy. I became too handsy, and my entire swing was all hands and almost cost me getting drafted, basically. And so it comes back to a little right above the butt. I found a pause, which I had no idea what that was at the time. And I just felt like I had all the control of the world to let the ball come to me, let it get deep, and snap when I wanted to. And even though it wasn't a snap, right, I have just created so much depth and barrel back, so much bat speed behind me just because of the way this hand pump was already loaded to go, right, and was able to rock through it. And so, once again, I forever am grateful for HLP. So then led me to getting drafted and actually spending an entire offseason on my own, kind of working with Rich a little bit, a lot on my own, like I said, my first couple of years. And then finally my last offseason before getting released, working with AJ at OPP. And that's where it finally all clicked together. Because I understood it, but I never understood it, if that makes sense. Because I was probably just like you who was watching this video. I've seen the videos about Rich. I've watched all the hitting stuff. I've watched OBP, watched all these other HLP guys, but I never got it. It took me about 3 months to finally understand how to hang on my backside and coil and use my rear leg. And it took me another 6 months just to hand pivot, like actually try and put force in my hands and not with a elbow slot and then dip, the whole shebang. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's how I became an HLP guy. And so I've been on the other side of the fence. I understand how hard baseball is when there's no rear leg, or coaches say, let the ball get deep, but it's hard when they don't tell me how to let it get deep, and they say, don't let it get deep, and I'm still jumping forward. Like, oh, just stay in your back leg. Okay, how? Oh, just stay on it. Okay, so like HLP. And so that's kind of the story about how it led me to HLP. And just once again, I will continue to advocate for it. I don't care the hate that it gets, just because of what it's done for me and how it's helped me specifically. How would I not want to have the same success for kids I teach nowadays? If you have any questions about HLP, let me know down below. Happy to answer them the best I can if I ever get to it. But yeah, that's how I became an HLP hitter.